Hey guys, so rapper Jessi has been cleared of all charges regarding an assault on one of her fans. But has she actually been forgiven by the public? Of course, she had nothing to do with the physical assault of one of her fans. It was a friend of a friend of a friend that was in a group that she was with, but has she really been forgiven? What did the police decide officially? And with this a bit of distance from the incident, going back to the actual CCTV footage and a full view of the CCTV footage, it shows quite a different story when you really look at the details. So sometimes when you're really bold and you have this very strong public persona, it's unfortunate, but a lot of people don't really, I think, check on you enough, or in a way where you feel like you need. And I think Jessi is one of these people where you may automatically assume that perhaps she's doing much better than she is, or it's not that big of a deal, or why not be a little bit more suspicious about her? Because in the general human sense of like, is what I'm doing actually going to hurt her or hurt that person? Oh, she's so strong. I think she actually may be in that kind of a situation, and it makes this kind of injustice so much harder to bear. She, I hope, is okay with, me mentioning it, but she did DM me and say that she was very grateful for the last video that we made on this topic, and she doesn't want to give anybody a story because she says there is no story. However, what she did say was that the situation is very one-sided and it's very heartbreaking because it's very twisted in the sense of just only one side made her look like the bad guy and didn't let her speak. And I think that is extremely unfortunate. I think she has to take the high road of not really giving any more fuel to this story and not wanting to complicate the situation even more, because she feels like there is this unwarranted one-sided narrative against her. And I think that sometimes happens when you have such a bold persona. Even if you didn't get to tell your side of the story, I think there's a lot of people who feel like she did somehow because she's so loud. So like in their mind, she's so loud, like of course she said something, right? Like, and then they don't really dig too much into it, whereas like she's been mute, she's been silent, and she did give her testimony to the police, which in a weird way I think actually probably worked out in her favor, because she was, I think, half not wanting to really give a story and then half being silenced from giving her story, that her being dragged into the police station, even though I don't think she should have been dragged into the police station, but her being dragged into the police station actually did force her to tell her side of the story, and her side of the story seems to really add up and make sense, and some details of that get released to the media. So in some ways we are able to hear somewhat her side of the story. Now, the police officially cleared Jessi of all charges related to this fan assault incident. If you need to catch up on the fan assault incident, go back to the previous video. But in short, a fan approached her late at night in an alley in Apgujeongdong where she and her friends and friends of friends, like maybe a group of 5 people, were out there, and she said no, politely declined, and the fan seemed also somewhat innocent, backed away. I still blame that phone. I think the phone and its flashing notifications created a misunderstanding where then it looked like people in Jessi's group were trying to be overly macho and try to protect her from a weirdo person taking illicit photos of Jessi. I think that's how they interpreted it. But then the fan, of course, is going to also get mad because that wasn't the case at all. Like, I wasn't taking any photos. We'll go into more of the video. But in general, one weird guy from that group punched the fan. And that's what created the problem. But the problem for Jessi was the interpretation of what happened during this event. She was made to look like she booked it, left, fled the scene, just like tried to distance herself from taking any responsibility and even maybe assisting the perpetrator and covering it up. That is the general anti-Jessi painting of it. But we have the CCTV footage, and the problem with the CCTV footage, the way that it was presented, even in, of course, JTBC again, they're being now accused of manipulating this footage. I think they cut the footage, maybe they misinterpreted it in a way that made Jessi look bad. But we're going to go look at the entire CCTV. The entirety is 90 seconds, so it's not even that long. However, I do understand in TV newsland, even 90, you can't just play an entire CCTV thing for even 90 seconds. It's too much time on TV. But here on YouTube, we can go for the truth and show all of the 90 seconds. But going back to what transpired out of the police. So the police, if they were going to press charges and then elevate it, they would send the case to the prosecution. So the police decided there's nothing here about that Jessi did wrong whatsoever, so we're not going to send it to the prosecution. Therefore, everything, with Jessi dropped. Not so for Koala and especially this Taiwanese national. So we're calling him the Taiwanese national now. Essentially, it looks like he is a Taiwanese person who lives in America, and it's unclear whether his citizenship is still Taiwanese. That's the way they make it sound in the Korean media, that he's still Taiwanese, but he's living in the United States. Or could he just be Taiwanese American, where he's an American citizen, but he's of Taiwanese descent. In any case, a lot of people online have already, basically identified his nickname as Joker, so we'll just call him Joker. He's the one that is in the most amount of trouble with the Korean police. They even requested an international search warrant with Interpol to try to capture this Joker guy, because he was the one that actually did the most that would trigger charges from the police. So he actually physically punched the fan who seems like he's a senior in high school. He punched the fan, and so the police are still pressing charges, but then this Joker guy left Korea 3 days after this incident, so he's not in Korea, so they can't grab him. Now, Koala, though, is indicted on assault charges, and his case was referred to the prosecution. From the CCTV, Koala definitely did not punch as hard as that other dude, and I couldn't even see an actual physical kind of punch from Koala to the high school kid, but definitely Koala was fighting with his words, and he had multiple times to stop, but he kept going back and fighting with his words. Whether from the grainy CCTV footage there was like a push or two, perhaps, maybe that's what can be registered as assault, or I don't know if you can be registered as assault with like how you speak to somebody. So there must have been some sort of physical contact to the level where it can be to the point where the prosecutors would now take the case and exert punishment on Koala. But nothing for Jessi. The victim, though, has filed a lawsuit against Jessi and the 3 others involved in the incident. A netizen filed a legal complaint against Jessi for harboring and aiding the escape of the perpetrators. So, yeah, the victim has no right to sue Jessi because Jessi was not involved in the fight. And as we're actually going to go into the full video, she made multiple attempts to stop what was happening and to actually protect the fan. Yes, there was this debate before of like, did she do enough to protect her fan or not? Even though legally she's not required to protect her fan, but you know, moralistically or ethically, did she do enough to protect her fan? Oh, yes, she did. But the fan should not be, you know, if you turn this around to like, you know, maybe the fan is in trouble. What if he beat up some other schoolmates because the schoolmates called his mama like a dog or something, and the mom was there and she didn't do enough to, like, you know, she was the subject of the attack but not the actual physical attack, and the mom didn't do enough to stop it? Would the other moms sue this mother? Or press charges against the mother? They would press charges against like whoever did the physical hitting. So, you know, we have to keep things in perspective. But Jessi, of course, remember, did apologize twice on her Instagram. She was very recalcitrant when she went into the police station. She basically decided to be the bigger person and take responsibility for more than what I think she legally definitely needed to do. And then now from the video, looking at the full video carefully, we can see that she also ethically, I think, fulfilled her obligations and then some to protect the fan. So some other details that we found out from other reporting, in particular Lee Jin-ho, he said that, yes, the police ruled that she did not flee the incident and she did not go drinking afterwards as if she's just like, oh, well, let's forget about this. Let's just go drink. And, you know, like, that's how she was portrayed, that she was just, you know, she just didn't care. And she's like, okay, let's just go keep drinking. First of all, she wasn't drinking at all. It was an event for Koala, or Koala had organized some event. Maybe he was celebrating something. And so he brought a bunch of people, including Jessi there, but including other people like friends and friends of friends, which is the puncher Joker guy. That's why she said she didn't know this guy. She met him for the first time because this was not her event where she was bringing people she knew. She was going to an event that Koala was throwing, and Koala is like her music composer guy friend. And so she attended the event, but she was not drinking. And where she ended up later, like after the incident, you know, when the report said, oh, the police did a scope of the neighborhood, they were trying to hunt her down, they found her at a, you know, a restaurant bar. Well, apparently she had called somebody for help to calm down Koala. Like, she couldn't do it. So she was calling somebody that she knew that was able to calm this Koala dude down. Because now when we really look at the CCTV again, even though Koala was not the puncher, The puncher was like that was like a cold-blooded punch, and then he's just like, I haven't, like, don't care about this situation. But Koala cared, and he looked like he wasn't able to calm down. So she called somebody who can calm down Koala, and the dude was in the neighborhood, and then she went to go find him, and that's when the police found her, and then the reports made it look like, oh, she didn't have a care in the world. She just like, saw her fan get beat up, and then she just, went over and just like continued her night. She was trying to find a person who was going to be able to calm down this situation. She testified she did not know Joker. She even turned over her phone for forensics to prove that, she ain't be like, chatting up Joker, asking like, how her bra looks and like if they're gonna have coffee or something like that. No, this was just a person that tagged along, and she did not help Joker flee because that would also show up in phone forensics, and the police agreed with that. From the video, we can see that there's a very non-relationship interaction between Jessi and Joker. It does not look like they're friends at all. And it does look like, though, the close friend or maybe even a girlfriend was the girl that pulled Joker aside. There is a difference in degree of intensity of how you can, touch someone or even grab somebody, even in a situation like this, depending on how close you are. If you're not really close to somebody but you kind of know them, I thought that was exactly the right way of her physical body language of like, hey, Joker, stop, I don't really know you, but like, I'm going to stop you from hitting my fan. Whereas with Koala, she knew this guy was going to get into like some physical alteration, and she grabbed him more because she had a closer relationship. The one that actually grabbed the Joker dude, it kind of looked like she's a girlfriend or something, but she had all sorts of, ways to touch him and drag him away. And so that's why, yes, I believe that she did not know this guy, and it was the friend of a friend of a friend, that girl who arrived and then probably brought the Joker guy. Or maybe even not, maybe that girl knows how to make fast I don't know. So the full version versus the edited version of the CCTV tells a different story, because if I counted the amount of times that she intervened literally with touch, because we don't have the audio. So even from her physical touch, Jessi's physical touch, to try to stop the situation, I counted at least a dozen. And if you count how she got other people to also try to stop, because she touched the girl, she touched the other foreigner friend to basically say like, look, help me, calm this situation down, and you also help. If by proxy, I'm calling it by touch by proxy, at least 17 or 18 times. Okay, that's a lot of times. And that doesn't even count the verbal cues that we couldn't hear, that she's probably saying, stop it, hey, calm it down, dude, like everything in her power, trying to speak the words to try to protect the fan and stop the fight, and also her physically doing it. From the edited version that we saw and we were analyzing, it looked like, oh, maybe she didn't do that much, or maybe she's just trying to be really protective of herself. When I look at this then again, and with clarifications of who the other bodies were, you'd think from the SJM whole saga, we would be really good at watching CCTV, and I think I'm much better definitely now, but it's still hard to, get the grainy stuff out, because there's actually two other people in that scene that are the friends of the high school students. See, the JTBC people didn't tell us that. They edited that part out, so it looks like the whole group and team is Jessi's people, but actually not. Two other people in that tableau were the friends of the high school senior, the fan trying to get a photo. And ironically, the way that it makes it look tougher is that one of the fans' friends was dressed almost like a twin of the Joker puncher. I don't know, maybe it's kind of a standard thing. Like it was like a black shirt like this, and like, dark pants and then like white sneakers. I don't know. That's the thing now. Okay, that is, it's the outfit of the moment. Okay, so they were not all Jessi's people there, and that confused, I think, the public interpretation of this a little bit more. And so let's go in order of the amount of times that Jessi tried to stop the situation. She was interactive. She wasn't running away. She wasn't booking it, but it does look like she was really good at reading the situation of when she can go in physically, even physically, and when she had to jump out. Because remember I told you, like, learning from some interviews that she's done, she grew up with a bunch of brothers, and I think older brothers. So there was, who treated her, yes, as a sister, but also sort of like a brother. So there's probably a lot of physical interaction. So she knows physicalized like brodom or guys, and knows when, like, what her limits are, because she's probably been in a few wrestling competitions or 5,000 with her brothers, and she probably knows exactly the limits of her strength and where it gets dangerous. And so if you look at the CCTV video, it looks very almost like she's very skillful at, like, when she gets to go in, when she has to come out, when she gets to go in, when she has to come out. So, okay, let's look at this. So, number one, she apologized to the fan when she said, like, no, I don't want to take a photo. So that was a no touch, but that was definitely a very strong physicalization that we can see. And unfortunately, that's when I think his mom was probably calling, the high school student fan, and the phone was lighting up, including the flash, making it look like he was taking a photo. Definitely to a drunk person, it would look like a photo, and definitely to a drunk person who doesn't use the flash notifications and I forgot about it, like that it was even a feature. So if I were drunk and I was an aggro male and some dude was like coming with the flashing phone, I would think he was taking some like weirdo pictures, especially like if he was just holding the phone and like, and Jessi was sitting on the ground and then, his phone like was like that. Like I would think like, okay, that's a weirdo thing. I'm going to go and protect Jessi. So this is where I think the unfortunate, it was so unfortunate. Like each side should not have done it. But of course, more blame to the ones that did the assault. They should have not done it even more. And so now we see that Jessi touched Koala and dragged Koala from, not dragged, but pushed Koala from confronting the fan, because this phone was like flashing, and I think that was a misunderstanding. But she touched the person. She touched Koala to stop. Then Joker was like, kind of creeping in the alley, like a few clicks behind. And for him, even more so, would probably interpret it as like a shady photo. And like, we've already kind of seen from the netizen investigation service that he is not the most diplomatic person, or in terms of that world where it is about fist punches. So then he just went and straight up approached the fan to punch it. But before he landed the punch, Jessi did drag Joker, tried to, stop Joker physically. So touched Joker to stop. Then she holds back. I'm going to call him foreigner friend. And I think he's also released a bit of a soft testimony of what happened that night, saying that this was so, unfair to Jessi. But I'll just call him foreigner friend because I think he's American. And so he's the kind of the tall guy in the frame. And so she holds back the foreigner friend from joining the fight. Then Jessi touches the girl who is the friend of Joker, to encourage her to get Joker out of the fight. And that prompted the girl to drag Joker out with it, even like an over shoulder grip with some woman power, probably a little bit of side boob disarm, you know. She had the touch, I guess, and she dragged him out and into the alley and out of frame, and we don't see Joker again. And we don't see her for a while because she's probably back there just talking, trying to, you know, keep him out from creating more of a disaster. Then Jessi holds back the foreigner friend again from joining the fight. She touches the foreigner friend to not fight. And I think what she's doing here, which is really good, is that she's convincing through her words and touch of the foreigner friend to be on the side of de-escalation and don't join as an assailant or an active participant. And it seems like foreigner friend definitely got the message because of Jessi's intervention and, in a way, persuasion to bring it down. Foreigner friend, why do I think? Because foreigner friend then taps Koala away from the fight. So I count that as touch by proxy, you know, Jessi's touch through the foreigner friend, because she's convinced the foreigner friend of being on the side of de-escalation. Foreigner friend again taps Koala away from the fighting after the student picks up the phone. So you see, like the Koala didn't, I don't think at this point, like, you know, definitely I don't think through the whole thing, I don't think Koala ever punched the high school kid. But definitely Koala was like doing the Peacock kind of thing. That is definitely for sure. Whether any of his peacockiness and, like, you know, yelling at the high school student ever resulted in some sort of contact, I couldn't see. I think at most it would have been maybe like kind of like a push. So the foreigner friend again taps Koala away from the fight after the student picks up his phone. And now, you know, both people can't stop it. The foreigner friend and also the Jessi herself. So she's holding the foreigner friend from fighting as Koala goes back into the student's face. So the foreigner friend seems to be kind of like, you know, wavering on like de-escalation, or I'm going to get into this fight. De-escalation, so then she holds back the foreigner friend as it looks now safe because Koala exited. But Koala just did like a around the world of the stage, and then, you know, exited like stage left and came back on stage right, and then he goes back into the student's face. And at this point, Jessi, you know, thought that Koala was out of the picture, so then she's talking to the fan's friend, and the fan's friend has the same outfit as the Joker. So most, you know, in the initial analysis, most people would probably think that, oh, she was just talking to Joker. Why is she so friendly to Joker? No, she was talking to the fan's friend and trying to, it looks like, ameliorate the situation. And she even touches the friend, like a slight touch of reassurance. So like she is physically getting involved in trying to, you know, de-escalate this thing down. The foreigner friend breaks up Koala and the fan again. So I count that definitely as touch by proxy. She is not strong enough to get in between two men, but she definitely goaded and encouraged foreigner friend to be on the side of peace, fight for peace, and break up the fight. Then Jessi goes to the fan directly. So now that there's been a bit of a, you know, parting of the Red Seas where it looks like for a second it might be safe, she's putting herself in harm's danger. And then she goes to the fan directly to apologize and even, you know, a touch. So that's a physical thing. She's physically trying to fix this situation. And then Koala, yeah, he's going around the world a lot. So then he does a loop around, tries to confront the fan again. Jessi now that Jessi is with the fan and Koala does the loop-de-loop and then tries to, you know, do something, Jessi pushes Koala out the way from her fan, protecting her fan. That's a super touch. And she kind of like dragged him down the alley. But Koala then runs back to the fan, and then she touches the foreigner friend to help. And then by this time, the girlfriend of Joker, I don't know if it's like a girlfriend or just a friend who's a girl, but she definitely has that touch. You always need to have one of those girlfriends in the club. You're just like, I can't find all my friends, or they're all separated, but we want to bring them together. Nobody wants to move. And this you got that one friend who's like been able to like fish them out like she's working for Chicken of the Sea, and then boom, she's just like got all of them together. So this girl comes back and she goes into the scene, and Jessi moves to the back of the scene, and Joker's girlfriend is the one that successfully extracts Koala from the situation. You see, I'm telling you, she's got some kind of skills, when it's 3 a.m. in the club, you want this kind of a friend. And so the foreigner friend tries to bro it out with a hand on the shoulder with the fan. So he's also trying to help, and I consider, we don't know exactly this foreigner friend, but the way that it looked from the CCTV, foreigner friend could have gone either way. And it is because of Jessi that foreigner friend was convinced to be on the side of peace. Although foreigner friend, if you're just like, oh no, I'm always on the side of peace, like, please, I would have never gotten, okay. It could totally be that situation too. And so the fans, two friends though, they're just standing there. Like they kind of like didn't know what to do throughout the whole situation, which was probably on the better side, because they didn't, it would be not good to get in, this kind of a mess. And then so this girlfriend of the Joker is now gone or out of the CCTV. Again, this is only like 90 seconds. And then the girlfriend successfully dragged Koala out of the fight. And then that's how it seemed to end at this moment with this scene. So when we really kind of parse it out and look at it, from the unedited version, and especially like when these kind of fights happen, like everything is probably like slow motion. So 90 seconds probably felt like 5 minutes or 10 minutes. And when we look at this, we saw so many instances where Jessi did actually physically get involved and try to stop the fight. Whereas when we saw the CCTV footage from the news reports, they focused on the moments where she backtracked to protect her own safety, but she was always there, present, and she, from beginning to end, went into the heart of the situation. Okay, I know many of other girls, like if they're gonna be in this type of predicament, they'd be at the next subway station but still kind of phoning it in. So she was there, and just because she took like 8 steps behind, look, she has to protect herself. We don't know if she had a photo shoot the next day. She can't like come up with, come to work with like scars or bruise, or like, what if like one of her earrings like rips out her ear, she can't afford those types of situations. So of course she's going to get out of the immediate harm's way. And I think she's good at going back and forth, my theories, because she grew up with a bunch of brothers who are probably like, they're probably doing world wrestling federation kind of simulations and playing Rough House all the time with her, that she knows how to gauge when it's safe. But even then, she was taking risks by going in and out. But we saw that every single aggressive male, she tried to stop multiple times whenever she could. When she couldn't physically do it, she was able to enlist foreigner friend, who's a little bit bigger, and have him also try to stop and block the situation. And then also Miss Chicken of the Sea girl who knows how to disarm a man, like she did it twice, and she was prompted by Jessi. We can definitely see physically she was prompted by Jessi. Please go help this situation. And obviously, if we had the audio, we could probably hear what went down, and with Jessi just constantly trying to protect the fan and make sure that this situation didn't get out of control. So it kind of went in a weird way where it wasn't the way that you would probably think this kind of a scenario happens, is that there's like a build up, like a koala build up, and then it climaxes into a punch. But here we had Mr. Stone Cold Joker just right off the bat, boom. And then kind of like a build up, and thankfully, it didn't look like there was like a additional like heavy punches, but definitely Koala was mad. Now this is now turning to the two scene partners of Koala and the fan. I think they were arguing probably over like, did you take a picture or not? And then the fan was like, look, no, did not take any photos. What the heck are you talking about? And then Koala's probably arguing. And once you get into no, like, I am not acknowledging what you said, you're crazy, then it just becomes a fight about like, are you disrespecting me? And then I think that's when it just started to escalate like that. Probably, yeah, it seems like, you know, the fan was also not happy with the situation. And so what we did see was the fan should not have been treated that way. Koala should not have reacted so testily, although I'm still willing to give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. Like, he was probably in protection mode, but maybe this is also a learning lesson, is that, like, you know, even if he had to protect Jessi from like a weird stalker situation, which it wasn't, but even if he were justified in that, like, you need to probably have a different method that's gonna have less margin of error, because the choices that both of these people made had a very high margin of error. And so definitely Koala is in hot water. The Taiwanese national that may be on an Interpol list is in hot water, hotter, like a hotter ocean. And then definitely from what we've seen from this, and also the testimony, and from the way the police decided, Jessi has no fault in this. Jessi tried everything she could. Looking at the CCTV now, I can see she tried every single moment. There was not one off moment or second where she wasn't trying to do what's right. And so I think we need to really look at this situation truthfully and not blame her whatsoever. Not even the sense of like, well, she's the celebrity and she should be no, like, when you look at this situation in the moment, she did everything, I think, right, and somewhat protecting herself. Even though she still put herself in physical risk, I still think that she was smart about how she was not going to do actions that had a high margin of error. All right, guys, what do you think? Comments below. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.